Hello everyone, my name is Rosencrantz and this is Guildenstone and we are very much still alive.
Just kidding, it's Aaron and Ari here. Welcome back to another episode of a podcast where two theatre people who are fairly unqualified in theatreness talk theatre.
Welcome back. Sorry.
The forced enthusiasm at the start
It wasn't
was real.
forced. Okay, it was forced.
It's 'cause I
Apparently I
told you
didn't do it good enough the first time.
Oh, because you're like, hi everyone, my name's Rosencrantz.
It was not like that.
You were.
It was not like that.
Play it here. You can find out for yourselves.
Play it back.
You will now.
Hello everyone, my name is Rosencrantz and this is Guildenstone and we are very much still alive.
Just kidding.
Okay, fine. Maybe
Hi
you did sound a
everyone,
little
my
bit
name's
like that.
Rosencrantz and this is Guildenstone. It wasn't that bad. It was pretty bad.
We've done a lot of stuff today on the show.
Too much stuff.
And also from last week after we recorded. So it's coming along, you know? It's moving.
We don't have much to tell you about it though because I don't think it's worth talking heaps and heaps about it, do you? So we had a little bit of a stint there. So there was a giant cut because suddenly we realized neither of us were actually on the same page with what we were talking about. I thought we were talking about one thing, he was talking about another thing. This is why you plan your podcast, folks. This is a very candid episode because we've just done two lots of things already. We did a rehearsal earlier, so our brains
Look,
were
I'll
kind
be
of
candid.
in that.
We filmed a bonus video.
Yeah, I was about to get to that.
Yes.
I was saying we did a giant rehearsal, which was a lot to kind of process, and a lot of things came up about how we kind of actually need to flesh out a lot of scenes. So
Yes.
we will be doing that in the next week, fleshing out a few more scenes, because we realized we're not really hitting all the marks we want to be hitting, in them, not just in like time-wise, but in terms of like content-wise. There are a few scenes fall short of what we actually wanted to get through.
Kind of fleshed out a bit
But
more.
then after that, we were like, oh, I know, let's have a great idea, and we filmed a bonus episode for all of you. You'll see it eventually at some point, probably in the next couple of weeks, without making us have time pressure, but a lot of
Us?
technical... Aaron have
That's
time
fine, it's
pressure.
fine.
I mean, I'm happy to edit it, but I'm not very good at editing.
You can.
A lot
It'll
of
be good
technical
practice.
difficulties occurred.
We lost all of the footage. All of the video.
All 20 minutes of the footage.
I am a bit deflated as a result of that, if that wasn't obvious already. But that's okay. We pick ourselves up and we do other things. But that's why I think we're both a little bit scrambled.
I'm not scrambled.
I'm a bit scrambled. Hi everyone, Aaron from the future here. I'm recording this 6 hours before the podcast goes out. I'm sorry. Been a bit of a busy weekend. Sorry about the audio issues. I don't know what's going on with that. It gets better after 10 minutes. I don't know why it was all, fluffy at the beginning there. It fixes itself. I don't know what happened. Also, it turns out we didn't lose the footage. It was all still there. It just didn't show up on the camera for some reason, but it's good. So a bonus video will come out at some point. But yeah, I'll be back in a bit because I have some other things I want to talk about the Oscars. But for now, goodbye. I'll see you later. I'm going to go get some tea. I'll speak for myself.
The technical difficulties were entirely my fault.
No, they weren't entirely your fault. It was an accident. But
I pulled the cord out of the wall accidentally.
It's an accident.
My knee was the fault.
Yeah, but it just, 20 minutes of footage just poofs away.
Things happen.
Just like that. But anyway.
Things can be annoying.
In that case, we'll go with what you were talking about before.
Well, I just thought we'd talk about everything that's happened in the theatre
Yeah.
and creative world at the moment, because lots has
it's a
happened
big
recently.
thing, and I feel like there is a lot to talk about.
I mean, yeah, there is huge amounts of things to talk about.
This is one of the benefits of, because we're recording this the week that it releases. So everything we're talking about today is still
Actually
fresh.
has happened recently.
It's still fresh.
Rather
and it's
than
not like
us being like, so 3 weeks ago the Oscars
exactly.
happened.
No. This is like
Now I can be like,
2 days
yes.
ago from the time of this recording was the biggest event in Hollywood. Well, as much as they would like to claim it to be, which is technically true. I don't know if the Super Bowl is probably still better than
Super
the
Bowl.
Oscars. But it's the
Have you ever-
biggest
do you
event
watch
in
the Super Bowl?
entertainment. People watch the Super Bowl.
Do
more
you
than
watch
me.
the Super
Oh,
Bowl? I
don't,
said,
no.
yeah, see, I've never watched the Super Bowl.
I just watch the halftime shows.
See, I've never watched the halftime shows.
You don't watch anything?
Nope.
Really?
I don't subscribe.
You don't subscribe to the whole
No, I
Super Bowl?
unsubscribe to the Super
You
Bowl.
don't subscribe to the Super Bowl?
I hit that unsubscribe now button and I don't get these emails.
Oh, wow, what a very Zuma joke. Yeah, no. Yeah, but I feel like the Super Bowl is still, it gets a lot of views.
Maybe I should watch it.
No, you don't have to. I'm not saying it's not like a TV show
Yeah, I
where I'm
know.
like, yo, you gotta watch the Super Bowl. It's like,
Oh, that's
I
my
know.
list
Look,
of things.
look, season 1 and 4.
Super Bowl, yeah, get back to that one.
Because the first few seasons are a bit bad, but once you kind of push through it,
once you're past 2007, then it starts looking
yeah,
up.
you're the characters in it are so fun, and it can really reward you for continual viewership.
Right.
So just kind of stick with it. I promise you.
Right. So what platform is it available on? Did Netflix do it?
No, I think it's on.
It's not on Netflix. Disney Plus, surely. Then if it's not on Netflix, it's on Disney Plus.
It's on Espen.
Espen. Never heard of them.
Espen Live, yeah.
What a time when I used to watch sport.
Yeah, it's hard.
I'm watching the women's cricket at the moment.
That's good. How's that?
It's a bop.
That's
Good
fun.
Won't say anymore. We've done this. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern have had enough of cricket for probably the next 4 years. You all don't need to hear any more. I'm going to zip it right now.
The season's over. We're not talking about it anymore. But the Oscars happened.
They did.
And boy, oh boy, did a lot of things happen in the Oscars.
Although I'm kind of annoyed about what's getting talked about, though.
I also, which I feel like I'm going to start by acknowledging all of the films that won and all the films that were nominated because nobody cares. I was talking with people yesterday during my film class, and everyone was talking about a specific event, which we will get to.
Which everyone already knows.
Which happened during the announcement of the Best Documentary Feature. And my tutor raised a question, which was, does anyone know what won the Best Documentary Feature? And everyone was like, nope. And I forgot. But I remember now, it was Summer of Soul, which is Questlove's documentary on the Harlem. I was about to say,
was it Belfast? And I was like, that has nothing to do with
documentaries. Not a documentary.
I mean, did that won something, though?
It did. It won screenplay.
Yeah, I thought that.
Which I thought was also...
The names of the awards confuse me.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know enough of the lingo to know what actually fits into what category.
I'm happy. I feel like we're going to chat about each nomination and what I think should win. I have a lot of thoughts about those things.
I've actually seen a fair few of the things now to actually be able to talk about them.
We can
Not
chat
all
about
of them,
it.
but enough that I feel like I was like scrolling the awards and I was like, hey, pretty much know all these people, all these films. Yes.
Bingo. For once you actually are like, I feel like I can have an opinion on this.
Yeah.
So... what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so Summer of Soul, which won documentary, very good documentary about the soul movement of music, but nobody's talking about it. So to all of you out there who have never heard of the Oscars before and are now seeing it on TikTok, watch movies.
Do yourselves a favor.
Do yourselves a favor and watch movies, and the movies that won.
Who hasn't heard of the Oscars? I have a question. Shout out to you who don't have heard of the Oscars. You're almost as bad as I am.
I wouldn't be surprised if people don't if people were like, oh yeah, that's a thing, and nobody's watched it.
Actually, it's like that's true. Actually, what are those footy awards? Those footy awards. What are they called?
The Brownlows.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that. Now look at you go. True blue Aussie.
Man, I'm an Australian.
Yeah, there are those awards that I
don't follow the AFL
obviously
at all.
hadn't heard of them until I moved here. And then people were like, oh my gosh, who's getting the Brownlow medal? I think it's a medal.
Which sounds like poo medal.
And I was like, Brownwell. That sounds like Cromwell.
Brownlow.
Oliver Cromwell is a person in history that I've heard of before.
Brownlow? Not Brownwell.
I know, but Brownlow sounds like Cromwell.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is my point. That's the only connection I could make.
Yeah.
Or Brownlow as in Brownlow and Oliver.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
So my knowledge of Brownlows in the world.
It was a weird thing to give an AFL player a medal based upon a character in
Oliver
the musical. Yeah, Oliver Twist.
So shout out to Charles Dickens for
again the Venn diagram of sports.
Theatre and sport does combine against all against all odds.
So yeah,
more,
a lot of things won, and I'd like to shout out some particulars. I think Troy Kotsur, who won for Best Supporting Actor, he's the second deaf person to win.
I thought it was first.
This is where I wanted.
They told us first.
No, they said second, and I also was like, oh, I didn't know he was the second. Who was the first?
I wouldn't know. I have never watched.
You will.
Oh, deaf.
Yes.
I'll know it.
You will.
I will?
Yeah.
An Oscar?
Yeah. Well, you'll know the actor involved. It's his co-star, Mary Matlin, who won in...
She won?
1980s. 86, I think.
Oh.
So she won in 86, and then he won for this. And so they play
but
husband and wife.
All
in
of
the
news things are first.
He's not the first.
Oh.
He's the second. Because they said second during the ceremony, and I was like, oh, who won before him? It was his co-star.
This is the thing with news titles. They all are so misleading because all the news titles really I've seen was first.
First in 40 years.
Okay, maybe that's what they were saying. But they're all saying first.
She won in mid 80s, so she hasn't won for a long time. But still,
was she playing a deaf?
Well, she plays it's in a movie called Children of a Lesser God, where she plays a deaf janitor who falls in love with William Hurt, the actor. Not he plays a character, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so those two are the two deaf actors to win Oscars, and they're both in Coda, and they play the father and mother.
Cool. She wasn't nominated for anything.
No, she wasn't nominated this year, but she has won an Oscar in the past.
Right. Didn't know that.
So yeah,
Surely they should have advertised that on the film,
Yeah.
like Coda. Surely it should have been like, it always is all over the plastered all over the film when they've got like Oscar
Academy
nominated,
Award winning
actors.
actor. Yeah,
And I don't remember that, but I feel like it would have like pinged for me.
true.
But maybe it is. Fun fact.
So yeah, that shout out to Troy Cott's a great performance. Big win. Shout out to Ariana DeBose for West Side Story
First openly queer person of color.
to win an Oscar.
That one I know is true.
That
I
is
think.
true.
Openly
well,
queer.
openly queer.
Yeah, that's why you have to
the
say
thing.
openly
Yeah,
queer.
of course.
Um,
But she is fantastic. Those were my two picks. Those are the two picks I wanted to win for supporting. I didn't think they would win because, I don't know. Just I didn't think the Oscars would give it to them. But their performances are fantastic, and they both very much deserved their awards. And I'm glad that they both got the opportunity and the platform to speak about everything that they wanted to speak about, and also be recognized for their great acting, which is the main thing. So good picks there.
June, I swear, won like 40, 100 things.
I
was scrolling the list and I was like, wait, how many things were they even nominated for?
Everything.
Literally everything.
They were nominated for most
Literally
things,
everything.
except for directing, which I think is a shame. Denis Villeneuve should have been nominated for every person who wins for Dune gets up. I'd like to thank Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there and
And
he's great and he's like, having a great time.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad. And I know that he doesn't. Nobody needs Oscars, obviously, at all. But I watched that movie and I'm like, this is created by someone who has such a fantastic direction. It's such a clear person who is able to pull everyone together to make a movie like this. And to not be recognized, I thought was a bit of a shame.
Didn't Kenneth Branagh win for direction?
No.
Oh.
Jane Campion won for directing Power of
Oh,
the Dog.
yeah, I saw that.
It's the first woman to win twice.
Yay!
So good for her.
Love that.
Also,
Belfast did win something, though.
It won writing. I said that
That's
before. He won for writing. Kenneth Branagh won for screenplay.
I knew he won for something.
So that wasn't I would have thought Licorice Pizza was going to win for screenplay, which is Paul Thomas Anderson movie. He also has never won an Oscar before. Kenneth Branagh has won, I think, before for something. But he won for Belfast, which is interesting because that is a good screenplay. But I don't know if it would be my pick for Best of the Year. Again, everything we're going to be talking today is our opinions. None of this really matters at all.
Nothing matters.
It's just who gets the gold trophy. But still, I think it's still interesting to talk about like everything because it's still fun and a good time. So Belfast won writing. I would have given it to Licorice Pizza. I think that screenplay is really good. Coda won Best Adapted Screenplay, which I would have given to Dune because that's a really good adapted screenplay. But Coda is also really good.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the original film that Coda is based on, so I don't know how faithful it is. But it's obviously also in a different language.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that adaptation process went, and I'm sure that a lot of work went into it. And yeah, so I probably have I feel less confident to be able to say that shouldn't have won, but to pick Dune over it. But still great. Good for Coda won all 3 of the Oscars they were nominated for.
Oh, cool.
So Best Supporting Actor, Best Writing, Adapted Screenplay, and Best Picture. Very rarely does a film win Best Picture that hasn't been nominated for more than like a lot of awards. So it was interesting because that was, I think, one of the biggest surprises of the night was to see Coda win. And great movie. Loved that film. It's just interesting because like typically it wasn't in a lot of the top picks because of how few times it was nominated during the day. Because you'd think that typically like a movie like Dune, which has been nominated for everything, would be picking up, but they're not going to give it to Dune because Dune is a movie like that. But even like something like Belfast or Nightmare Alley, which was nominated for more movies, or Power of the Dog, which was nominated for almost everything, like that was I think the favored pick. You haven't seen Power of the Dog
no,
yet,
I haven't.
have you? Yeah, so that's that one directing. And lost all the acting ones, which was a shame because there's some great performances in that movie, acting-wise, which are really, really quite fantastic. But that supporting lost to Troy Kotsur. The supporting actress lost to Ariana DeBose, and the lead acting lost to Bing
Ding 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 ding.
Smithy. I watched King Richard
Smithy.
yesterday. After everything that went on, and so I was like, I'm gonna have to watch this movie now because I still haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. I've seen snippets of it though.
It's interesting watching it post what happened. Really, like it's actually quite. It kind of changes how I think I would have watched
Colors
it.
your.
Yeah, it really kind of does though.
Oh,
in a way that I
100% would.
wasn't
If I watched it,
expecting.
I'd be like, nah.
Yeah, but like
Nah.
because suddenly all of like the like all of Richard Williams's mannerisms and drive and passion gets tainted by the event.
Mm.
You know, because Richard Williams was a person who fought very hard for his daughters, and the film kind of paints it as he pushed so hard, and you know, in many ways, people would argue even too hard.
Yeah.
To make sure that that the life for his family would be better than the life he was given, and to see the ways in which he does that, like he can be very abrasive in times, and at one point gets violent, but not in a way that is at all comparable to Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. You know, so it's weird that like even within his speech to make comparisons to Richard Williams, I thought was kind of almost insulting to be like, he's a multimillionaire, Will Smith, who has not, who at this point in his life is not at all comparable to Richard Williams, who was, you know, living in Compton under severe, you know, financial burden, and also like trying to make sure that his daughters were established in a career that, or in a sport that was very predominantly white. Will Smith doesn't have any of those problems per se. And also, don't joke about people's health concerns. That's bad. We can, I mean, if we want to talk about like that part of it, I feel like I've done my Oscars bit.
Yeah.
We can come back to it afterwards. But yeah, I mean, that whole thing is so... Because you texted it to me. I was in class.
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't watching
messaged
live.
you.
And as soon as you sent it, there are some things that you see that you just go, this is going to be the conversation.
Oh,
for, like,
yeah. As soon as I got because one of the girls at work was like, hang on, we need to put something on, and we quickly like started looking, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be all the media talks about for the next until something else big happens, basically. Yeah, and it was just kind of a bit like,
it's just... And like even in the last couple of days, everything has been the aftermath of what that was, and like everyone's speaking out.
Pressing charges? Are we gonna press charges?
Are we
no,
gonna take his Oscar
charges.
away from him?
You know.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
The
see
Academy, the Academy were considering. Well, I don't know if this is all of this is. This could be tabloid something.
Cosmopolitan news articles as well. So, do I believe you?
Exactly. So, but there was, because, I mean, the Oscars have never taken off an award of anybody before. Even people who are like, you know, alleged sex offenders.
Physically assaulted someone?
But it was more the fact that it was done during the event, and the disrespect for the event of the Oscars, that I think it's a different kind of case. That he showed a disrespect for the Oscars, so why should he have one? You know, that's kind of the question.
But what about just like the very straightforward, he physically assaulted somebody?
That's also very true and should be.
We don't physically assault people.
No, never.
Regardless of what they say or what they do, unless they're threatening you with a gun.
Even then.
Oh no, mate.
Well,
my opinion. If someone's got a gun to your head, you do whatever the hell you want to do to get out of that situation ASAP.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's
fair. Don't suddenly go, oh, but wait a minute, my morals. If someone's gonna kill you,
I'm not talking morals.
Bam, bam, bam. You kill them back. Actually, maybe don't kill them
that's
back,
what I was kind of trying to say, of like, you know.
But like,
we don't have gun laws in Australia. We do have gun laws in Australia, is what I'm trying to say. Like, there's a big grey area when someone points a gun at you and you shoot them in return, and that's a whole other conversation.
You wouldn't have a gun.
That's my point.
If you have no gun and someone's got a gun, you can slap them and hit them all you like. Look after yourselves.
I'd argue that wouldn't be abuse.
Assault, not abuse.
What I mean. Sorry, good point.
But yes.
Yeah, it's just like.
It's just common decency, folks. You know, that's my only
But
sense.
also, do not, I feel like it's a low blow to joke about someone's health problems, especially ones that they can't. And I'm not saying that justifies a response. It does not.
Yeah.
I'm just saying both people in this situation have done something wrong. One person, I think, more so. But still, for Chris Rock to make a joke about alopecia, I think is a little bit in bad taste. I don't think it elicits a physical response.
Yeah, it could be bad taste. Although, I mean, I don't know what's politically correct or incorrect. I have no experience with alopecia. I have nobody super close to me with alopecia. In saying that, I do have several friends with alopecia, but I haven't had a chat with them about how they feel about it. But that's what he's a paid comedian.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing, right?
That's what they do. Like, there were so many other jokes that were low blows to other celebrities. Yeah. You know, like the whole night.
Look, there's...
I mean, yes, maybe don't touch on something. Or if you're going to do that, maybe check in first. Be like, hey, I'm going to make this joke about you. How do you feel about that? That's a totally cool thing to do. Like, if someone was to come to me and be like, hey, I'm going to make a joke about, I don't know, your upbringing or like blah, blah, blah.
And also, they're Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith are people who live in the public eye. Like,
Yeah.
they need to understand that you're...
maybe he went and thought, and maybe what Chris Rock did, which is not justifying, but he, saw, like, she is quite public about her alopecia. She's a very strong, like, advocate. She talks about it. She's out there about the condition and about, like, she's very proudly, she doesn't wear wigs a lot, she's very much, this is me, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And he probably took that and go, okay, great, that's something that I can use. And, just because you're very vocal about an issue doesn't mean someone else can be vocal about that issue for you.
Yeah.
So maybe it should have been a bit of like just by the way, I've got this joke lined up, how would you feel?
Yeah.
So it didn't come completely out of the blue, because she did look pretty miffed.
Which he didn't until he punched someone.
Although I think that is, they are, like, he is a comedian. He is paid to make jokes, and he's paid to make relevant jokes, and so he went to that issue, and maybe he should have picked a different one or a different person.
But I mean, Ricky Gervais went viral a year or so ago about, like, where he, like, kind of went hard and went personal to a lot of celebrities. They're celebrities, like, it's interesting. But, like, even then, the most uncomfortable thing that I was feeling during the entire, when I was rewatching, because I watched it afterwards because I was busy on Monday, and I watched it in the evening, Regina Hall's jokes about all of the men during the show. Did you see this?
I stopped watching.
There's two jokes that she made. One was she had a list of people whose COVID tests were missing, and so she invited Timothée Chalamet, Jason Momoa, all these men up onto stage, like, conventionally attractive men, and was like, oh, I'm gonna have to do a new test, with my tongue on the back of your throat, just come backstage. And I was like, that's weird. And then Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa come out to announce, and she kind of pats them down and feels them up and walks off. And I was like, this is, I don't know, like, that kind of feels a little bit weird to me.
I need to watch it to make a comment, but
because you can't help but think, like, if the roles were reversed,
Oh yeah.
Like, that's not okay. And I would argue that even in this case, it's still weird kind of objectification. Like, I don't know, there's some, I was uncomfortable watching it.
Interesting. How do you go watch it?
Like, like, bringing up all these men and being like, oh, I'm just gonna go backstage and stick my tongue down their throats, and then feeling up Josh Brolin and Jason Momoa. And they were both kind of playing into it as much as they probably would, because it's on television. But it was kind of it cuts to Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, and you can see Ashton Kutcher's face. He's just like, and that was me. I was like, I don't know about this.
What is this?
And that's, of course, no one's talking about that because of what happened with Will Smith.
You can kind of get away with anything.
You can kind of get away with anything else. Anything else that happened in that show. Wanda Sykes and Amy Schumer and Regina Hall's hosting was fine. They made some funny jokes. A lot of Amy Schumer's jokes that I laughed at a lot were the ones that I had already seen on Twitter. But I don't think she was, ripping them off of that. But I just... If the jokes that everyone was making, I was like, oh yeah, those are funny jokes, because those are jokes that everyone,
jokes.
all of the, a lot of film people are making. So I think they did as good a job as they can, considering the fact that the Oscars have axed hosts in the past, and, ceremonies have been incredibly boring. They did a really good job in, most cases. Some of it was a little bit weird.
Yes.
But yeah, like, it's overall, what the most interesting part of it is this, I think, for the first time ever, the Oscars have become relevant, which they haven't in a very long time. It's just a shame. It's for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a shame that that's all the media is going to be capitalizing on. For, like, I opened my Facebook feed after work on Monday, and the first, 5, 6, 7, it was just, I was I did one big little scroll, and it was just Will Smith, punch, punch, punch. Will Smith hits rock bottom. I'm like, oh.
Seen that one. I was talking to someone about some equipment stuff, and they were like, I saw this on one of these Facebook groups. I thought it might be useful, and they sent me a link, and the link was Will Smith punching Chris Rock. And I was like, is that the link you meant? And they're like, oh, no, sorry. I meant this thing. This is another one. I'm like, that's totally fine. Everyone's sending it to everyone right now.
Yeah.
I do not blame you for that.
I thought this link might be useful for your camera equipment.
Yeah, and it's...
learn about... Oh, God.
That's
it is a bit like that.
But yeah, it's just it's just been thrown.
Anyway, I feel because it's being thrown around, there's no point in really speaking on the matter anymore, other than being like, yes, it's a thing that happened. I feel like the more we talk about it, the more it just
I do want to
kind
of reiterate the fact that the Oscars are a great event to celebrate actual filmmaking and great performances. Shouting out again the people who won. Seek them out if they're films you haven't seen before. Now it's so easy nowadays to watch movies because they're now available on all the home streaming stuff. So, watch Power of the Dog, watch West Side Story, watch Coda. Watch all of these films that are really, really great and deserve your attention more than whatever clickbait crap is being shoveled onto Facebook and all of those things.
Coda was my favorite film this year. Full stop. I reckon.
So it would have been your pick for Best Picture.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
great.
I didn't see enough of the other ones.
Yeah,
I did see a fair few of them, but
fine.
hands down, as soon as I watched Coda,
Yeah.
the second I watched it, I messaged Aaron. It was like, "Have you seen this film?"
Yeah, and I said no.
And I was like, "How have you not seen this film? Normally, I'm the last one to know about anything."
Yeah.
I loved it to bits.
I do think that movie is fantastic, and I don't know. There's part of me that just wanted Dune to win. But I think Coda is a very good pick. Of all of the films to win, I'm glad it was that. That's a really good film. That's one of the ones that I'm like, great. I'm happy that film got the recognition. Because that film deserves more people to be like, oh, that movie won that award. Maybe I'll go watch it. Go. And if you don't care about the Oscars, our recommendation is also worth that. Go watch that movie.
Anyway, do you have any more theatre, film, creative-y things to talk about before we segueeth into the next bit?
What's the next bit?
Other things, life. So many things have happened this week.
Oh, okay. No, I think that's it for the big event.
Okay. Well,
are we going to say goodbye to our Spotify listeners?
We'll say goodbye, but if you want to hang around to hear about all the cool things that have happened, if not in Aaron's life, at least in my life,
True.
Head over to YouTube and we'll catch you there. Otherwise, we will meet again.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Welcome back. So, in the aftermath of everything that happened, Will Smith has now resigned from the Academy, which I feel like is an interesting choice. Never before has anyone ever done that, at least not to my knowledge. Maybe there'll be a little bit of a fix-up. Hey, Aaron, guess what? Turns out you're wrong. But I don't think anyone else has ever resigned before. So it sets an interesting precedent. I think it's part of that is because of the disrespect for the event, which is what I was saying before. It's an interesting end, hopefully, to this saga. And we were right. It did kind of ride the mainstream media. It's all anyone ever talked about for ages. It was just the big thing. Chris Rock's whole stand-up tour that he's been doing has just been bombarded with people who are like, joke about Will Smith. And, he's created an entire one act about literally anything else. And now he has to work around Will Smith. I also realized I forgot to talk about some other Oscar stuff, some snubs. Number one, I already spoke about Denis Villeneuve not getting nominated for directing and everyone thanking him in their speeches. Oh, well. Number two, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wasn't nominated for directing as well, but that I guess was kind of more specific, but also didn't win for Encanto. They played the song at the Oscars. It was a beautiful song, and the performance was so great. It was a shame. He's still one Oscar away from the EGOT. I don't know when he'll get it. Oh, well. The other snub I wanted to mention is, of course, our favorite Andrew Garfield. He didn't win for his role as person who wasn't in a Spider-Man movie. I thought that was a great performance. I almost believed him for a second there. So it's a shame that he didn't get the award for that. Instead, they gave it to Will Smith for best fake punch in live television, which, I mean, the other thing that we didn't talk about was the fact that if this whole thing was a speculative stunt, it did its job. Everyone's questioning the legitimacy of the thing. Everyone's watching it back, seeing it from different angles. Oh, back angle of Will Smith punch shows Jada Pinkett Smith smiling and laughing. Changes the whole narrative. This is the part that I think is so kind of icky about it. It's just Hollywood trying to be Hollywood again. It's just this focus on performance and this focus on, just rinsing it dry. They'll make a movie about it. No, I'm sorry. There's another boomer moment from me. But, yeah. Anyway, they're done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I was making a joke to some other people in my class being like, I'm going to try and shove this into every single conversation I have for the next week. But the more I see it on the news, I'm sick of it now. It's been a week. I'm done. No more. But anyway, back to the show. Still a bit more to go. Thanks for sticking with me. I'm going to finish my tea. Goodbye. Next time. I was thinking about this when I was editing the podcast, and I like the fact that after every end of the Spotify bit, there's like a good minute where we just talk about the outro to the Spotify bit.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think that should be a consistent thing
Oh,
where it's always just like,
So how was that outro? That was a bit weird.
I
wasn't
was
sure we
not
were
really
gonna
ready
end.
for that one. You know, I just think it's a funny thing that we do every week, and it's just something that we've just
One
kind of
day we'll
done
get really
because
good at it, but-
I always bring it up, and
Because
I'm
you're
always
always
like,
I didn't know when you were
I
going
don't
to
know when
end. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry that I can't make my laser eyes clearer.
Yeah.
No matter how hard I stare at you, it still doesn't work. I'm like, I barely look at you throughout the entire rest of the podcast because it just feels awkward constantly talking here. And so the one time I look at you, I'm like, yes, this is the end. And you're like, I didn't know when we were going to end. It's like, well, I wonder.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So yeah,
that was
there you go. There's a bit more meta reference to the end.
Yeah, but it's still there. Don't
Yeah.
worry, we won't deprive you of our pre-YouTube post-podcast banter.
But how's your week been?
I graduated.
Oh
Woohoo!
yeah.
I have my hat over there. I got
wanna
to
go
keep
put it
my hat.
on?
No, I
No.
don't want to go put it on. But I do actually. I'm gonna get my degree.
Are you gonna dox yourself?
Why? Dox myself. Everyone knows my name.
Okay, that's fine.
Not gonna zoom into it. Hi, I have a degree in a cool thing. Woo! Party. Okay, enough. Put the degree away.
Put the degree away.
So I officially. Wait, let me come back to the. I realized that probably should stay at the microphone
That's
if I'm
a
going
good
to
point.
talk. I officially have a piece of paper now. Wow, yay, piece of paper.
Yeah,
that
I could
says-
print one of those for
Yeah,
free.
really? Does it have cool gold stuff on it?
No.
No. So now I have a cool bit of paper that says, "Hi, I did a thing." So
Was it worth?
was it worth?
Was
the-
it worth Was it worth it? I mean more about the graduation ceremony.
Oh, so my graduation ceremony is quite expensive, but because you know.
I mean
classic-
most graduation
No,
ceremonies
apparently.
are.
So I could walk across the stage and doff my cap. I doffed my cap quite well. And then you can't shake hands even because no COVID. No,
Did
no.
you elbow bump?
No, you just nod. You doff
Oh.
your cap and then you nod.
No elbow bumping. Yo, sucks.
So that was a fun time. It was very long because so many people needed to graduate because COVID happened and a lot of people still want in-person graduations. But I'm glad I did it because yay, now I have photos and videos of me being like I graduated, so that if I never do another degree in my entire life, I can be like, well, at least I did one. You feel me? Yeah. So at least that happened and it was fairly successful. For the amount of money that I paid for the graduation, so for the graduation I get 3 guests. So I had my parents and my brother as my 3 guests. My brother decided not to come. Fair enough. Completely valid because I wouldn't have probably come anyway because he doesn't need to see it. Anyway, so it meant I had a spare ticket for the post ceremony, which was like a free food, well, not free food, very paid food, but food and drinks event. And you get a little box of food. Anyway, Aaron happened to be
I was there.
At
I
uni.
was at uni.
So I was like, bro, get over here now.
I got the free food.
So he got the free food, which meant my free food didn't get, well, not free food. The paid food didn't go to waste, so I got
Well,
all
it was
4
free
meals
for
worth.
me.
Yeah, all 4 meals worth of food. But it was a very tiny little thing with a little bit of sushi and some weird bread roll and a really
And-
nice pastry and sparkling water. Who drinks
Sparkling
sparkling water? Why trick me into thinking I've got some luscious cold iced water, only for me to take a gulp and to find that it's like fizzy? So disappointing. So disappointing. Anyway, that was my graduation. I don't have much more
I've
to
told
say.
you this story, right? I don't know if I've told it on the podcast, but I went to a restaurant and I asked for water because that's what I do at restaurants. That's all I ask for. I ask for water and then I leave. No. And they said sparkling or stilled. I think they usually ask that in America, right? Because a lot of the drinking water in America is bad. But I said stilled. And I turned to the person I was eating dinner with and I was like, who drinks sparkling water? You know, like who? And I was like, do people actually like order sparkling water? And the waiter goes, yeah, actually, more often than not, people will get sparkling water instead of stilled water. And I was like, I don't believe you. I have a conspiracy. I don't think anybody drinks sparkling water, and those who do are liars. It's just
I had a friend that used to drink it by the liter.
no.
And I was like, why?
Your friend is not real. I don't know them, so they're not real.
You actually do know them.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? You know what? Great. That's fine. Sparkling water, not a fan. If you want to drink something fizzy, go all the way. Don't do this half-assed, it's still water and there's a little bit of bubbles in it. No, I'm not standing for it, you know? I'm making a stand. Sparkling water is just, you're kidding yourself. Just drink either distilled water or drink, like, a Coke. None of this in between nonsense.
But it's not even in between. My huge confusion is how still water can be still water, and then sparkling water can be sparkling water. And everyone knows what still water tastes like. But then you taste sparkling water, and you're like, why does it have taste? Like, where does the taste come from? It's just bubbles.
What do you mean?
Sparkling water tastes.
You don't think normal water tastes?
Yes, it does, but it tastes neutral.
Oh, I see.
Sparkling water tastes like salty / like.
Tastes like carbonation.
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 It tastes, and I'm like
carbonara.
Carbonara.
I don't think sparkling water tastes like
Oh,
carbonara.
I want some carbonara.
I wish if you can get sparkling water that tastes like carbonara, maybe it would change my mind.
Change our mind. Find us some sparkling water that tastes like carbonara.
I gotta make one of those tables.
No, but sparkling water has a very different taste to still water. Is my point. How do they taste so different if they're the same? Like, their ingredients are identical minus the carbonation effect.
Yeah.
So it's like so hear me out, right? So if you have a wee bit of spinach and you have it raw, and then you have a bit of cooked spinach, they taste similar. They're different, obviously, texturally and stuff, and sometimes you add stuff when you cook it. But at their core, they are still the same thing, and you can tell that they taste the same. Mm-hmm. How come when I drink still water and then I drink carbonated water, or whatever the hell you want to call it, mineral water?
Sparkling water.
No, mineral water is a fancy version, isn't it?
Is it the same thing? Is there a difference between sparkling and mineral water?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think because there is, because they are separate, right? You can buy them.
And you can?
I'm pretty sure you can buy sparkling water and mineral water. I don't know what the difference is, but no, it's fine. We don't need to.
Why do they taste so different? How? Why?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Is there? So does the bubbles taste like something? What are they pumping into the water to make it taste?
Invisible boba.
What?
Invisible boba.
At the bottom.
Yeah.
So it's not only is it invisible, but it's also not actually solid. It's like non-existent.
Invisible, non-existent boba. They're just carbonated bubbles, okay?
So do you think boba is what makes bubble tea taste good?
No.
So then why is it in
they're
sparkling?
Bubbles.
Oh, okay. I see what you. I was so confused.
The connection is vague.
I was so lost. I was like, hang on, you're insinuating that boba is what makes tea taste good, and also that they're not only invisible but non-existent, because then you wouldn't be sipping on it, and suddenly you'd be like, what is this chewy thing that I cannot see?
They
or
also
feel?
all throughout, not just in the bottom 1/3.
I was very good. I'll be honest. I was like having a crisis.
Go for bubble tea.
I also could go for. Maybe we'll do that after this.
Bubble tea after this.
Well,
I haven't had a bubble tea in yonks.
Neither have I. Yeah.
Yonks, mate.
Big fan. We were talking about that in class yesterday because I'm doing this unit on ethnic identity and popular culture, and this week we're talking about Asian identity, and one of the people in my class was talking about how interesting it was that a lot of like kind of Asian centric, not Asian centric, but a lot of like culture and surrounding the Asian, Asia in general has become kind of popularized, like anime and drinking bubble tea and stuff. And they were saying how interesting it was how when they were young, like drinking boba was a weird thing and watching anime was a weird thing. Oh, yeah. And now everyone does
cool.
it, cool. I'm just going to go get my bubble tea on campus. And you're like, oh, wow, it's so interesting how like so quickly that something that you were used to be so ashamed of can just become, and I wasn't like that with boba. Obviously, I don't have that aspect of Asian heritage, but I just thought it was an interesting thing, and I was like, oh yeah, like so much of like so many things that used to be, kind of ridiculed against have now just become popular.
Yeah,
and I don't know how that happens. I just thought it was an interesting thing. But yeah, drink more bubble tea.
Except not too much, because apparently they'll just sit in your stomach. I don't know. I saw
Really?
some science article that freaked me out. Honestly, it could be a lie, but
oh no.
Yeah, apparently if you drink too much, it all just like sits in your stomach. It doesn't digest very well. I don't know. Could be wrong. Don't
Whoa.
quote me. I'll do some research.
We're not scientists. We're fairly unqualified.
We're
actually,
fairly unqualified in theatre. Oh my gosh.
Actually.
2 theatre people, one who is actually now qualified in theatre. Actually, I'll have you know one moment, please.
This is a breakthrough. You've already done it. It's fine.
Theatre and Performance, Bachelor of Arts in Theatre and Performance. I am qualified.
So yeah, we need to change the intro next week to be like, you're actually qualified in theatre.
It's now going to be 2 theatre people, one who has a degree and the other one who has not.
Oh, it should be like, welcome back to a podcast where one person who's very qualified in theatre and just talks theatre with another person
who is fairly unqualified in theatre and who also
we're making a really long intro now.
No, we're just going to keep it the same. I still consider myself fairly unqualified.
You now know how qualified she is.
I am. I have done 3 years of work.
However, okay, this is also an interesting thing though in terms of actual qualification, because I've been doing a lot of kind of filmmaking work recently.
Yes, indeed.
And it's been interesting because I've never had any like actual formal experience or training in filmmaking. I've kind of just taught myself. And currently, I'm also doing a unit in practical filmmaking alongside currently kind of branching out into more practical filmmaking stuff in terms of like actual things outside of,
University.
the world. Yes, that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Appreciate that.
No worries, I got you.
So, every time I step foot on set or in class, I realize more and more that I actually do know what I'm talking about, and not in a way that's arrogant. I'm never in a place where I'm going to be like, I know everything. That's not at all what I'm trying to say. But what I mean is that I have been accumulating knowledge and practice in this kind of work for years, not purely through YouTube and through practice. So when I get to the state where I am now taught those things on a professional or educational level, I go, I already know this. Like, I watched a YouTube video about this 2 years ago, and I've experimented with this, and I know how this works. And I go, oh, all of these things that I thought I was lacking,
No.
I'm not.
That's cool.
And not in a, again, like, I know that this can come off as a case of arrogance of knowledge. But what I'm trying to say is that don't doubt yourself, or if you do think that you're not knowledgeable about something because you've learnt about it through non-conventional means, don't doubt yourself. Like, we live in an era where information is so readily accessible, and I think it's fantastic that you're able to, gain knowledge through means that is free for the most part, and that is an invaluable resource and should not be treated any lesser than, well, obviously it should be treated a little bit lesser than normal education, but you'd be surprised just how much you can learn through online and teaching yourself just by having initiative to do so. So I would encourage everyone to, if you do want to better yourself in a skill, or maybe want to try something out or learn something more, don't always feel as if the only way to do that is to sign up for accreditation or to go into some sort of industry thing. Like, there are resources online that are free. Like, I don't even mean online courses. I mean, like, you can find information and knowledge online for free that serves to be a great resource to teach yourself and to further your own knowledge for that. And I've just been thinking that that's great. Every time I'm like, wow, like, the resources on YouTube for filmmaking especially, but I'm sure for most other things as well. Like, if you ever need a tutorial for something, or like the fact that I could look up how to change a tire and watch someone do
Google
it and learn how to do it. That's fantastic. Like, I think that's such a necessary and useful resource, and it's awesome. I think it's great.
Indeed,
so
it is.
Learn things from the internet.
Yeah, the internet is your friend.
Yeah.
And your
enemy.
enemy.
But also...
And your enemy.
Yes.
Dun, dun,
Make
dun.
sure you see where your research is going from, and also never take what you're reading online to be absolute fact. If I went into class and suddenly it was like, oh, actually, this thing that you learned on YouTube was wrong, I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe I should trust this accreditation more so than I would trust YouTube. But that's not to discredit, be careful as well. Please. Don't just take everything you find online as fact. That's not what I'm saying. But also, there's a lot of really good places out there to find knowledge. It's a double-edged sword, as is the age of information.
Very careful.
Be careful with what you're looking at. Back up your sources. Find out multiple videos that talk about iris and aperture. I guess this is not a good example. But
professionals. Talk to professionals.
Yes. Well, that's the other thing. The other benefit is to then take that knowledge, work on a set, for example, in my case, and be like, oh, actually, great. Now I'm learning from people who have done this as well. Yeah. And then their knowledge is also useful, and can rewrite some things that I don't know or have learned incorrectly or differently or whatever, and then be like, oh, okay, cool. Be malleable. Be able to change your mind depending on what's going on.
Malleability, ductility, sonorous, all properties of metals. Learn some chemistry while you're at it here, folks. I can do that for you
I'm sorry, that's not what your degree says.
Damn it.
Got him.
Honestly, I feel like I know more about maths. Like, I feel like I'm more qualified in maths sometimes than in some theatre elements.
Really?
Yeah. My degree was like 50% maths, 50% theatre. As far like all of my electives were engineering units.
Of that 50% theatre, 25 of it is online theatre.
Yeah.
Which is not useful.
Really, how much theatre did I actually do?
You're actually a film student.
No. I'm not. Yeah, I'm actually a film student with a maths minor that never got mentioned. You know, like.
Yeah.
I want my engineering units to be. I wanted it to be like, you know,
stamp.
Bachelor of Arts in Theatre and Performance with a hell of a lot of engineering units. Well done, smiley face. Is what I wanted on my degree, but they weren't going to do that. Hey, were they? They were just going to be theatre.
That seems cruel. Shout out to all the people out there who have done engineering units and don't see it on their degrees. Yeah. We see you. We respect you.
I respect you. It's a lot. Engineering was a lot. To all of you who've actually completed engineering degrees, hats off. I doff my cap to you. I've gotten really good at doffing the cap. There's a video.
Is it Doff?
How
do you
D-O-F-F. Doff.
Okay. I also was Doff, as in T-H.
No, doff thy hat. That's a vocal warm-up for you. Doff thou cap.
You already started.
Doff thou cap. Doff thou cap. Doff thy cap. Doff thy
cap. Yeah, wow, it's really quite.
Doff thou cap.
Tongue twisters.
Doff thou cap.
I like how you're doing it to a melody as well. It helps.
Yeah, it helps. Doff thy cap. RnG branch out.
RnG branch out into music.
Into freestyle rap.
RnG or freestyle. I don't think we have.
I have nothing more to add at this point.
You haven't done anything else in the week?
Oh, no.
No?
Not
I like
yet.
your earrings.
Oh, yeah. Hi, they're dinos. This camera's going to get a good look at them. Aren't they cute?
I don't know if that's in focus. I guess we'll see.
If it's not in focus, maybe you can see them from here. Cute dinos. Got them in Adelaide.
Based upon last week's episode, I went to the op shop and bought some jewelry because we were advocating for jewelry buying. The selection was a lot less than what I expected it to be.
Shame.
Not gonna lie, but I got some cool stuff.
Oh, you got me a chain.
I got a cool chain and I got some rings.
I got a cool chain. I'm gonna be the coolest.
So here's your update for op shopping for jewelry.
It does work.
Really good. Make sure you pick a good op shop that has, not to say that there are bad op shops, there aren't any.
Pick big ones with lots of selections.
Obviously, yeah, they have different amounts of selections from different places. So if you have your one that you know that you think is a big one and you think has a good selection of things, go there. I didn't have any problems with any of the jewelry. I just, washed them when I brought them home. Except for the one I gave to you. That one's dirty. Too bad.
Gross.
It's just op shop. I'm sure
no, it was in a plastic bag. It'll be fine.
Yeah, that's how all the clean stuff is. It's in plastic bags.
Terrible for the environment.
True.
Hashtag no more plastics. Don't use those plastics.
Apparently they found microplastics in blood for the first time. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you define that for me? Because to me, that just sounds like words.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
My theatre and performance degree doesn't help.
I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And that was it. I had no
You're like, haha, OMG.
Yeah, you're like, wow. None of this makes any sense to me. I am unqualified.
Unqualified.
But yeah, anyway, let's not drag this on for any longer than it has to.
Thanks for hanging around and hearing us chat.
Yeah, hopefully the Oscar episode was a bit... Sorry we have to talk about that. I'm glad we talked about the movies.
Yeah, that was the main takeaway.
Yeah.
Our title of our podcast will not be, oh my god, who punched who? Because that's what every single title of every single thing in the media are at the moment.
It would be so good for SEO though. Search engine.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know what that's what it stands for, but
yeah.
Okay, maybe it'll be in the title.
No. I don't believe in clickbait. And plus, it's only like half of the episode. And who's going to click on us from... Oh, who knows? That's it. Don't smack people. That's the moral of today's story.
That's this month's quote.
Don't smack people. That's it.
And on that note, thanks for coming. Like, subscribe, follow, do all the things. Stay
Comment
tuned
below if you would have responded in a very adult and mature way if somebody made a joke and you had multiples of millions of dollars. And be like, yeah, I would have just sat back or at least had a stern talking to afterwards, or maybe in my speech I said, hey, that was a bit uncalled for. If you would have done anything like that, maybe comment below.
Thanks, Aaron.
Sorry, I had to call to action.
Fair enough. Stay tuned for more episodes. We do have a fun bonus one coming up in the next few weeks, and other than that, we will.
The
my
first
gosh, I
outro
was-
should have been Will Smith again. That was good.
Okay, that
Sorry,
was relevant
that
for
was
stopping my
interrupting.
role. It was a really good
Sorry,
role. I finally
roll on.
conclusion was working really well today. Normally I struggle to find the right words to like sink
I'm
into
sorry.
it. But anyway, on that note, we will catch you later.
Alligator. Will Smith again.